Today, Crew-9 left Earth to go to the space station this afternoon. So let's see what kind of information we get from this amazing mission. The launch went very well. So we're going to see what happened for the time -4 minutes all the way to about 15 minutes after. And I'm going to see if I can add information as we are going along. So let's see. So here you can see this is at 4 minutes before launch. See if I can make this one a little bit bigger. Here they started to set up slowly. So about 7 minutes before launch, they started to put kerosene, they started to put oxygen in the rockets. And one thing they need to do is, if you see the arm, so the rocket is put together horizontally, then it's lifted off. So here, about 4 minutes before the end, the tower here holding the rocket up will be going back a little bit for maybe 2 or 3 degrees, just to release the upper part of the rocket. Something interesting, this will go back probably 45 degrees as the launch will occur, to make sure that the rockets can go up very nicely. So look at how amazing this view is right now. So if we look in, let's see, we're going to see if we can look at some picture of the astronauts inside the rocket. So here you can see we have two humans, 2 astronauts, a cosmonaut and an astronaut going to space. And here we have 2 empty seats. So this Crew-9 mission is very important, because here originally we had 4 astronauts, 3 astronauts and 1 cosmonaut going up to space. However, we had to cut on the crew to allow for space to bring back Wilson Gilmore as well as Suni Williams, that are on the space station, that were sent there in June with the Starliner from Boeing. However, they're stuck there because they were not 100% sure of the quality of the return from the Starliner and the safety of their astronauts. So the Starliner capsule came back by itself, but now this is like the Uber or the taxi to bring back both Butch Wilson as well as Suni Williams. So let's see what we can know about these 2 astronauts. Aboard Dragon, we have 2 humans. We have the astronaut Nick Hague, who's been into space already, and a first-time cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. So here we have the 2 astronauts going into space at this time. Now we also had, let's see if I can find the other 2 astronauts that needed or was planned to go with them. Let's see if I can find the names for you. So first, let's see if we can get some information. Let's see if I can go back just a tiny little wee bit. There we go. To look at some information about the astronaut Nick Hague. So here he's the commander of the mission. He's on his 2nd mission and his 3rd spacewalk. So here he's flown with a Soyuz, and he's from Kansas. Let's see if I can get some information about the other astronaut. I saw it here a moment ago. So there we go. We have Alexander Gorbanov, and here he's a mission specialist. He's a first space flight, as I mentioned earlier, and he was selected as a cosmonaut in 2018. Now, keeping in mind that we have 3 Americans and 1 Russian, and this person we decided that he was to be part of it, and we decided that Mr. Hague was to be the commander for the mission. Let's see if I can find the other 2 astronauts that it could not go to this space mission due to the fact that we need to bring back the 2 astronauts from Starliner. So originally, Crew-9 was supposed to be 4 people. 2 of the astronauts needed to stay behind, and I'll explain to you why in a moment. These 2 individuals are Stephanie Wilson, who is a mission specialist, and also Zeman Cartman, who was originally supposed to be the commander, but now they needed to stay behind. Now, the 1 astronaut and cosmonaut on the Crew-9, as well as these 2 astronauts here, were the backup crew for Crew-8. Crew-8 went into space. That was good. They were the next in line. Now, what's interesting is you have to keep in mind that it's not always easy to figure out how the mission goes. So first of all, we sent the Crew-8 in, we sent them in March. In March, we had 4 astronauts to go to space. And I think there was one cosmonaut as well. Now, they've been in space for 6 months now. So that means that Crew-9 will go into space, 2 of them, will bring back the 4 individuals that have been on the space station for 6 months to come back to Earth. So sometimes you're wondering, how come they could not come back with the Crew-9 capsule right away? So what happens with Butch Wilson and Suni Williams is that they are on the space station, but they cannot take the space of another astronaut or cosmonaut, and they cannot come back with earlier, because if they come back earlier, you would have 2 astronauts and possibly a cosmonaut as well, who would be on the space station for a full year until they can come back. And that's not possible. So Crew-8 of 4 individuals will come back this way. We have the Crew-9 with 2 going there. And when Crew-9 comes back in February, then Suni Williams and Butch Wilson will be able to come back. So keeping in mind that it's not easy to send a capsule or a cab or a taxi to the space station, and logistics needs to be taken care of. Now we have to be mindful that the 2 astronauts from Boeing will be in the space station for at least 8 months. So hopefully their health will be okay, and when they come back, they'll have to take care of them because their bone density may change because they've been in space for so long, and also their health. Now, I'm sure everything will work well. However, we need to make sure that we take care of the astronauts that are on the space station, but also making sure that logistics need to be taken care of. Now, let's talk about SpaceX a little bit and the Dragon capsule. Now, if you look at the stats, I'm on the SpaceX right now. We have a total of 47 launch and 42 visits to the ISS, keeping in mind that here we have also capsules that are sending resources and taking some of the experiments back if needed, for a total reflight of 26. So that means that it's been sent to the space and back and reused. That's amazing. So if you were to look at some of the capsule here, it's about 8 meters long. The diameter is 4 meters. And here the launch payload mass is 6,000 kilograms. And here we have 3,000 kilograms, the return payload of the individual when they come back in. Now, let's see if I can find the next bit that was just amazing. I was seeing on the NASA information how SpaceX is working nicely on their rockets in the Dragon capsule. So here is the capsule that has different adapters. So one of them is this idea here that we can we can dock on the space station. So here we need what is needed to be able to do so. We also have here the cupola. So that means when we had Dragon going into space and then coming back without going to the space station. And here we have this new adapter here that was tested a couple weeks ago, called the Skywalker. So here you had the first 2 astronauts that the company paid 2 astronauts to go into space, and they were able to walk out into space here. So here we have the stairs to go up. So here it is. SpaceX is diversifying what they can do. This one here to go to the ISS. For these ones here could be space tourism in the years to come. And for the spacewalker, this is another good idea. We'll see what they will do in the future. So here we go. We are about 1 minute before launch, and I was listening to the scientists discussing about this rocket. So as you can see, we have liquid oxygen that have been included in the rocket. And here you can see how much smoke, because it's so cold from the outside. It's got the humidity of the atmosphere that are basically liquefying or solidifying and then doing sublimation right away. So the launch went very well. And let's see, we're probably 20 seconds before the launch. We have the ramp that was pushed away. And if you look at the tower, it will be moving back as the rocket will be going. Something I learned, they pour some water on the surface of the launch to make sure that some of the water absorbs some of the the echoes and that happens of the energy given. So here it is. We have the launch. Everything is working well. There we go. So success launch by SpaceX right here. And everything went well. You could see here the condensation of either water or gases in the atmosphere flowing back here. This is a beautiful launch here. I'm quite happy with what they've done. So here you can see how fast they need to go. So they are 600 kilometers an hour. Now you have to keep in mind that the rocket will, if you want to leave the orbit of Earth, you actually have to go more than 40,000 kilometers an hour. If you want to leave, let's say you want to go to the moon and leave the Earth's gravity. So here, the first engine here is that's the one that works the hardest, because close to the Earth's surface, the gravity is the strongest. And here you need to push the rocket out up to a point where there's less gravity, and then the smaller engine can continue. So here they were at about the speed of sound after 1 minute, and you could see the altitude is going up as we are going. So the rocket's here working beautifully. Now they're using kerosene, so pure, like a refined kerosene, to have a good burn, and they have oxygen. Knowing that if you have oxygen and kerosene and nothing else in the gas mixture, you can maximize the push. Second, you can have a combustion further up in the sky. I do know that Artemis is using hydrogen and oxygen, which pollutes less. But here, if you look at some of the companies sending rockets into space, they're using more and more kerosene because it is a bit more stable and it's easier to reuse the rockets. So here you can see, look at how beautiful. So here we can see our planet. You can see here the radius, the curvature of Earth here, and our atmosphere. You can see this little layer of cloud going right in the middle here. So it's quite nice. They were not sure if the launch would happen because yesterday we had the Hurricane Helene that went through, but today the conditions were good. So here we have the bottom part that will be released in a moment. There we go. So that's so here you have the rocket at the top here, and this one here will start going. Now we have the bottom part here that is reusable, and you could see how it will, in a moment, how the landing will be. And here you can see on the right, or even here on the right, the curvature of the Earth. Look how beautiful these pictures are. So here we are at the 6,000 kilometers an hour. So here we have the second set of boosters that will increase the speed to about 26,000 kilometers per hour. Now here we're further up in the sky. That means the gravity is less. So here we've exhausted all the fuel from the bottom portion of the rocket. And here, as you can see, the speed keeps on going up. So let's see if I can move forward a little bit to see what else as the re-entry came in. So here we're at 7 minutes. As you could see, the rocket here to the right is at 16,000 kilometers an hour. And here you could see the rocket here coming back. SpaceX have been doing amazing in refurbishing and having the landing. Look at this, it's coming down where it's supposed to be. And then now there's a shutdown of the rockets, ready to be refurbished for the next launch. Very proud of SpaceX with what they're doing here. So here we have our velocity still increasing. So at 19,000 kilometers, you can see here everything is going well. So here, I'm not sure what these little things here are. They seem to be moving here and there. I'm not sure if they're counterweights to try to change the direction, or there's just some ice that we have here. That's a good question. But anyway, look at this picture. You can't have a better picture. I think it's just amazing. So let's see if I can go forward a little bit more. There we go. So here we have the astronaut and the cosmonaut doing okay. Let's see if we can, what's happening here? There you go. So here we have the upper portion of Dragon that will be released. So here we have this, the second set of push. And if you look at the kilometer, we have about 27,000 kilometers an hour. So here it was going on for a little bit to stabilize any issues there were. And here we go. We have Dragon being released here, and will be able to fly for about 28 hours until it reaches the International Space Station. So here they'll stabilize the speed. They'll make sure they go in sync with the space station. So tomorrow at about 4 p.m., I think 4 p.m., maybe Toronto time, or anyway, the Eastern Standard Time, we'll see how it goes. We will have Dragon going to the space station. So this is Crew-9 with 2 humans. Keeping in mind that in early October, probably a week or 2, we'll have Crew-8 that will get back into the Dragon capsule, and they will come back. So we'll have about 9. So let's see, I don't know how many astronauts there will be. I think there will be 7. I know that there was up to 12 last week when the Russians went to the space station. But anyway, we have 2 astronauts going to the space station, and in February 2025, 4 will come back, so that we can have the 2 current astronauts here coming back, and the 2 astronauts from Starliner. So this is basically what we've got at this time. I think it was a success. We'll see how the arrival to the space station will be. I'll do that next week in the next video. On this, have an amazing day, and then again to SpaceX and NASA and all the technicians and the support workers, engineers, and scientists supporting the missions. Congrats for success today. On this, I'm going to put here a link to another video, and I'll see you there.